I'm Jane Slater. Both teams have very different goals. The Saints trying to keep home field advantage, which is pretty important, and the Cowboys are trying to hold steady atop the NFC East. Guys, who needs to win the most? On NFL Network, bright lights, big game to kick off Week 13.
Cowboys haven't allowed 30 points in 17 straight. It's an incredible nugget. I'm going to say Dallas, too, because Dallas isn't even in yet, guys. I mean, they got business to take care of. The Saints are going to the playoffs, and I look at it this way. We put the Superdome on a pedestal. We talk about it all the time. You really think that the Saints can't travel? Like, is there a vaunted home field advantage at the LA Coliseum that they can't go into and play? I don't see that at all. I saw them going to Baltimore this year and win. Them going to Cincinnati and win. Look, going to Chicago, if they really tumbled and had to go there in the playoffs, Drew Brees was there in 2006. He had 350 yards in the playoffs. Fine, he lost, but Drew Brees played fine, and it's a whole different regimen. At Superdome's good. I still think the Saints coming to the Super Bowl have to go to the Superdome. That good.
They could win, but I think no one is going into the Superdome and winning. That includes the Cowboys. That includes the Bears.
We say that as a fact,
the Rams,
though.
because they never have in the playoffs with Sean Payton and Drew Brees. I would say this. Last year, I saw the Saints team, different Saints team, go into L.A. and the Rams beat them. I've seen the Saints go on the road in playoff games before, whether it be Seattle, whether it be Chicago, whether it be San Francisco. They've beaten the Eagles in Philly one time. That's fine. But I would just say for their own being, the Saints, they are much better off because I don't think there is any chance. There's a chance, but I don't think there's any chance they would have any doubts. But if you go on the road, things get a little bit hairier. It's easier for the Saints to win if they're in the Superdome. It's just historically it is. It's not saying they can't win on the road. But to me, I think this matters a lot for the Saints. I don't think you want to have to travel to the LA Coliseum. Why even risk it? To me, Saints in the Superdome, let's go. Let's go to Atlanta. That's what it is.
I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys. There's no question. The Dallas Cowboys need to, so they can trend in the right direction, continue to trend in the right direction. When you look at the Saints, they're playing with house money right now. It's the difference between, yes, they are. I mean, you say you don't want them going on the road, but they have an offense that can play well in any type of weather. This is different than years past. They can pass the ball and run the ball. We know what their running backs can do. The difference is it's having money and being close to broke. The Saints, they have money. They can afford to drop some loose change, not turn around, stop, and pick it up. The Cowboys are close to broke. And once you're all the way broke, there's no recovering that money. So they need to keep every dollar in their pocket and get every win they can moving forward because they're in a position right now where their confidence is almost at the point where they're just as cocky going into each game as the Saints, as the Rams, as the Chiefs. They win this one, then they're right in that conversation.
The Dome is scary. It's not about what they can do playing home field. That's not loose change. It's about what other teams can't do when they're in the Dome. It's not about what Drew Brees and company can go to the Coliseum and produce. It's about what you're scared of Jared Goff not doing in the Dome because you've told me yourself it's the scariest place to play. So for me, it's definitely the Saints locking it up because you look at their schedule and it actually is brutal. It is juggernaut after juggernaut the rest of the way. And then I look at Sean Payton. I think it's a little bit more important for him as well, because he's the kind of coach that just puts his heart on his sleeve, and he's very emotional, and he uses that, to drive him. And the Cowboys ruined a perfect season for him back in 2009. It was 13-0 in the Dome, by the way. He takes it, the Cowboys come knocking
Saturday night
on a Saturday night, and prime time. They beat the Saints. They lit up Tony Romo, and Miles Austin 24-17. Who went on to win the Super Bowl? The Saints did. But if you know anything about Sean Payton, you know that this is still somehow in the back of his mind. And Trace, didn't you work for the Cowboys too?
He was Parcells' number 2 for Dallas for a long time. And there's always been talk. Every time Jason Garrett's on the hot seat, because Sean Payton lived in Dallas, there's always been talk that, hey, Sean Payton's going to be the next coach of the Cowboys. Sean Payton's going to be the next coach of the Cowboys. Whether that's true or not, there's definitely Cowboys ties with Sean Payton, and there's certainly a score to settle.
I think there's just like that little thing that people maybe forget about, I'm sure affects him in his prep for this.
That's what makes Payton tick.
Yeah,
That's why
so
we
I
like
think
him.
it's more important for the Saints and to him. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But I think that proves, though, that they can take an L and then bounce back and then make a run for the Super Bowl.
Love it. All right, Thursday night, can the Cowboys